Hey guys, we are ready to walk through the calculations that you're going to use to calculate the quadratic function of your real world parabola that you found out in nature or in architecture, in art, or in sports. We're going to do that from 3 points on the graph. So I asked you in Desmos to find 3 points on your parabola, and that's what we're going to use to calculate what the function is. And we're going to calculate it in standard form. All right, one of the points I asked you to come with is the y-intercept. So make sure one of the 3 points you picked is the y-intercept. Okay, so step number 1, let's visualize this equation with an x and a y. I know f of x is the same as y, right? So I could visualize this as y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. What I also want you to see is we already know what c is. Remember, in standard form, c represents your y-intercept. So one of your points already represents the value of c. So the y-intercept is where the graph crosses the y-axis. It crosses the y-axis at 12. So I can replace c with the value 12. So you can replace whatever your c is with the value of your y-intercept. Okay, so now my job is to figure out what a and b are. What we want to find is what the value of a, b, and c are to write our standard equation. X and y just represent every x and y on the whole parabola. Okay, so how we're going to do that is we're going to use the other 2 points that we brought with us. And those 2 points will be used to help set up 2 more equations that we'll use to set up a system of equations. And then we'll use the process of elimination to solve for what a and what b are. So let me walk you through how to do that. Okay, so I'm going to take my function here, my equation, and I'm going to replace all of the x's with -2 and the y with 6. Okay, so if I do that, I get 6 equals, let me do it in blue. A times -2 squared plus b times -2 plus 12. All right, so now I'm just going to simplify. I have -2 squared is 4, so 6 equals 4a minus 2b, because -2 times b is -2b plus 12. Okay, so step number 1 complete is I have one of the equations simplified. Now I'm going to take the other point, 10, 5, and I'm going to do the same thing. So I'll do that over here. So 5 equals a times 10 squared plus b times 10 plus 12. That's my c value. Okay, so now let me simplify here. 5 equals 10 squared is 100, so 100a plus 10b plus 12. All right, so now I have 2 equations with 2 variables. I know I can solve 2 equations with 2 variables if I set them up as a system. So let's set them up as a system in the middle here. So I have 6 equals 4a minus 2b plus 12. And I have 5 equals 100a plus 10b. Let me get these to line up perfectly so we can visualize this really well. Plus 10b plus 12. Okay, so next step is I want to take my constant, my plus 12 over here, and I'm going to subtract that to the other side of the equation. Those are like terms. I'm going to move them over here. So all I want on the right side is my a and my b. So subtract 12. 5 minus 12 is -7. So I'm going to subtract that 12 over, and that's going to be -7 here. Same thing here. I'm going to subtract the 12 to the other side, and that would be -6. So 6 minus 12 is -6. Okay, so now I have this set up as a system that I can use elimination to solve. So elimination, remember, is looking for a number that I can multiply one or both of the equations by to get one of the variables to cancel out. So I have an A and a B here, and I want them to be opposite signs, same value. So if I had the value -3 and 3, those would cancel, right, and equal 0. My goal is to get my coefficients for A or B. One of those needs to cancel out. So I need to figure out what can I multiply one or both of the equations by to do that. So let's look at this here. If I look at my A's, if I multiplied the top by -25, they would both equal 100, and the sign here would be negative, so that could cancel out. If I look at my B's, I have -2B here and 10B here. So if I multiplied the top by +5, I would get -10 here, +10 here. That's smaller numbers to work with, so that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna multiply everything on the top equation by +5. Remember, everything, including what's on the other side of the equal sign, needs to be multiplied by 5. Okay, so I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna write my answer down here for that. So that gives me -30 equals 5 times 4a is 20a, and then 5 times -2b is -10b. All right, now I'm just gonna combine those two equations. I'm gonna add down, and so what I notice is my 10 and my -10 are gonna cancel out. And what I have left is -37 on the left equals 120a. So I'm just gonna divide both sides by 120. Okay, so let me use my calculator, find out what the value of A is. -37, let's turn on first. Divided by 120, -0.31. So A equals -0.31. Okay, so after I have my A, I can find my B by plugging it into either of the equations that I started with. So I'm gonna take the top one, and I'm gonna plug 0.31 in for A and then solve for what B is. So -6 equals 4 times -0.31 minus 2b. So now I'm left with just b as a variable. I can solve for b. So 4 times -0.31 is -6 equals, that's -1.24 minus 2b. All right, so now I'm gonna add 1.24 to both sides to get this to move over. All right, so -6 plus 1.24. -4.76 equals -2b. So now I'm going to divide both sides by 2, -2. $2.4. All right, so B equals 2.4. All right, so my A equals -0.31, my B equals 2.4, my C equals 12. I now have A, B, and C, and I did it algebraically. So I can write the standard equation for my function, y equals, or f of x equals, either one, -0.31 x squared plus 2.4, b is 2.4, and c is 12. So here is my estimated equation in standard form for my parabola. All right, so I hope you were able to follow those steps through and you understand the math involved there. If you do have any questions, reach out. Otherwise, I hope this helped, and best of luck to you guys.